Good evening. Thanks for joining us. A mother convicted in the drug overdose death of her 2-year-old daughter speaking in Outagamie County Court today, just before being sentenced to 9 years behind bars.
29-year-old Brooke Seal of Little Chute pleaded no contest to child neglect resulting in death and possession of an illegal article. Another drug charge was dropped. Jason Zimmerman was at the hearing. He's live in Appleton now with the first alert update. Jason.
Bill, this was a very emotional hearing for Brooke Seal. As she spoke about the death of her daughter, she also asked the judge for leniency, saying that she's willing to overcome and seek treatment for years of drug addiction. Choked up in tears, Brooke Seal spoke out in Outagamie County Court, addressing the death of her 2-year-old daughter, Rosalie Garcia, vowing to change her life course.
Today I'm asking you to give me an opportunity to show my strength and my dedication to change.
Seal was arrested after toxicology reports found her daughter died from fentanyl poisoning in January of 2024. Court documents say investigators found a backpack with nearly 1,500 fentanyl pills in a laundry room, and that Rosalie had enough fentanyl in her system to cause the death of a grown adult.
This last year has been one of the toughest challenges of my life. However, not as tough as hearing a doctor tell me that my only child, despite their efforts, did not make it. And then learning that as her mother, the one who's supposed to protect her, played a role in it.
Seal's attorney requested probation, but the judge disagreed, ordering Seal to 9 years of initial confinement in the first count with 8 years extended supervision. On the second count, she received 18 months of initial confinement, running concurrent with 18 months extended supervision.
No one here would argue, and no one believes that you intentionally went and got fentanyl and gave it to her. Nobody here would say that. But that is how risky it is for adults, for parents, to have these drugs in homes where children live.
Seal will receive 418 days credit for time already served. Family members afterwards did not wish to comment. Reporting live in Appleton, Jason Zimmerman, Action 2 News.